Brian Andrews. Charles Cyphers. PJ Souls. Tommy Lee Wallace. Oh, I'm sorry, and Tom Atkins. The Atkins. Next up we have Dick Warlock. Chris Durand. And the last guy is the biggest pimp ever. The biggest pimp. Oh, dude, come on. Loree, how about it? All right, so please remember the same rules apply. If you have a question, raise your hand, we'll call on you. First of all, how about a great round of applause for these guys? Do you guys have any opening statements, anything?
I'm so glad you're all here. This has been really nice meeting all of you and seeing you again, some of you.
Who has the first question? Yes, go ahead.
For those of you who had the opportunity to work with him, how did you like working with John Carpenter?
Such an asshole.
Is he gone, can I say?
Yeah, he's gone.
He's the most nervous guy that I've ever worked with.
Next question?
Does anyone? No, we'll hang on that for a second. Anybody who's worked with John knows he's a top pro, first class.
Absolutely.
John wanted to be a filmmaker, knew what he was going to do. Since I first met him in the stairwell of College High, my little high school. It was also my grade school and John's, and in Bowling Green, Kentucky. And we bumped into each other there. He was a year older, therefore a big kid. And we started to have a fight right away. So that's the history of our relationship. Anyway, John was very well self-directed from as long as I can remember. He knew exactly what he wanted to do, and he went after it like a laser beam. So you can imagine by the time he actually was on the set of his first movie, which was called Dark Star, a student film that turned into a feature, he was prepared. He was all pro even then. University of Southern California didn't do him any harm, or me, or others. Go. USC. Cinema. Everybody will say, yeah, they trained him well, and a total pro, and an easy guy to work with, good sense of humor, likes an easy set, a fun set, and all-around good guy.
Can entertain you with a little music.
We've got 2/3 of the Cooper Hills here.
Yes.
Oh!
Let's see, let me count the ways. It was always a growing experience to work with John. And it was, each time was going to another level. And, you know, it was, I did 7 movies with him, and I always felt each time was a new experience and a good experience. You know? Felt always a good communication. Back in it when there wasn't, keep your mouth shut. That's all.
Some directors don't like working with children at all. I think John, he was a good director for child actor. And, you know, I did a lot of work as a child actor, and it was very good, very easy to work with. comfortable on the set, not stressful at all. Very enjoyable time. One of the most fun, enjoyable times that I had working at that period in my life.
I'd like to say that I made a comment earlier that he was the most nervous director I ever worked with. That's only because he wrote on a picture he signed for me years ago. It said, "Dick, you've got to relax." That's the kind of guy he was. He just real relaxed. And I owe my career to 3 people, as I see it. Well, 4. Walt Disney, Art Vittorelli, a second unit director, Kurt Russell, and John Carpenter. And I want to thank him for that.
I worked with John on The Fog. He directed that, and I had a wonderful time doing it, and he kept sort of like relaxed. He kept telling me, "Take it down, Tom. Take it down." So I tend to be a noisy kind of a guy, but I thought that the film worked out well, and I did, he produced Halloween 3, Tommy Lee Wallace directed, and did a masterful job of that. And yeah, I got nothing but good stuff to say about John. It's nice to see him again. I haven't seen him in a long time. It was nice to see him here this weekend.
What was inevitable was that a sequel to Halloween was going to happen. Nobody, you got to remember, sequels in 1979, it just wasn't a deal. It wasn't the thing it is now. So when somebody, we knew we'd made a good movie, and we were flabbergasted it was such a huge hit. And for us, it was done. That was over. Okay, next, on to the next project. Somebody suggested Halloween 2, and nobody had much enthusiasm for it. It's like, oh, we've been there, what are we going to do? And it was clear that train was going to leave the station, whether John and Deborah were involved or not. I went along for a little while, but then I dropped out because I didn't like the script to Halloween 2. I was tapped as the sort of the heir apparent director. But I sort of held my breath, took my chances, and it was awful because I hated the script, but I loved the people I was involved with, so what are you going to do? I thought it would be untrue to the movie itself, and certainly to John and Deborah to have a director along whose heart wasn't in it. So I withdrew. And they made the movie, and it went out there, it was successful, and the Derby was on for other movies, Friday the 13th, and many other franchises were forming and happening, and so this was just going to be the way it was. Universal suggested after that to John and Deborah, how about a Halloween 3? And their condition was very simple. Okay, we'll do it, but we get to do anything we want, and we don't want to do a true sequel. They've been kicking around the idea of just an altogether different movie on the subject of Halloween. And the longer we talked about that, the more evident it became that it was a great idea. Let's roll out a new franchise every year. Now think about it. How many ideas could you come up with on the subject of Halloween that are not Michael Myers movies? Thousands! And a brilliant billion-dollar idea, they just forgot to advertise it that way. And so we came along and thought, naively now, really, it should have never been called Halloween 3. But we thought, yeah, why not? Let's do that, and then next week it'll be a story, we can start PJ over here in her own story about a wholly different subject,
I'm in.
Exactly, the twin sister and so forth. But not a sequel at all, a new story about Halloween. But all of that kind of fizzled when you'd have to roll out a pretty good ad campaign to prepare the audience and say something new this fall, altogether different, and it's going to be that way from now until, time immemorial. So anyway, long story long, out came Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, and it didn't do very well at the box office. You had a lot of people go, where's Michael? Where's the knife? Where's Jamie Lee? And so it did poor box office, and with it, the hopes of that idea, that franchise yearly ideal, kind of withered on the vine. However, it's a good idea still for somebody to grab hold of that notion and run with it. But I guess in a nutshell, that's the way it went.
Okay, next question, I grab this side. Yes, go ahead.
I got a question. I say, I know it's too early, but so what y'all thought about Raw Zombie Vision of Volume 1 and 2? Do y'all see anywhere?
Rob Zombie's version? I never saw it.
Me neither.
You know, actors, I don't have a problem with any of the acting. You know, I mean, some of it's better than others. I believe personally, from my personal point of view, actors need work. You know, and some of the acting is pretty good to a certain point, but it's not the worst movie in the world, but it's not the greatest. It's not the greatest film in the world either. It's somewhere in the middle. You know, it's got its good points. It's got its bad points. Rob made. The thing that I can say is he made the movie he wanted to make. You know, he's very happy with it. Whether you like it or not is really up to you. But he's very happy with his vision. You know, for the most part.
There is about Rob Zombie. I never saw any of his Halloweens. What did he do, one and two or something? But I did My Bloody Valentine 3D and Drive Angry with Patrick Lussier, who had a script ready and supposedly the backing to shoot the Rob Zombie kind of version of Halloween 3. And I was going to be in it, but Drive Angry did so badly at the box office that all the money went away. So they're not going to shoot it, and that's it.
That was with Todd Farmer, correct?
Pardon?
With Todd Farmer, right?
Oh yeah, Todd Farmer and Patrick are writing partners, and Patrick directs them, and they both write them. Yeah.
Over on this side, anybody?